Hello everyone, I am Ashkan Mishra and this is the third video lecture regarding digital and linear integrated circuit using Tinkercad. So in this video lecture, we are going to discuss uh, particularly about sequential circuits. In my past two video lectures, we have seen how to design combinational circuit and how to see the simulation results. In this particular video lecture, third video lecture, we are going to focus mostly on the sequential circuit part. So let's begin. Digital electronic circuit, as we have already seen in the past two video lectures, mostly of two types, that is combinational circuit and sequential circuit. And sequential circuit mostly been implemented using flip-flops. And from this digital and linear integrated circuit perspective, we are going to use two types of flip-flop. That is your JK flip-flop and D flip-flop. And JK flip-flop is IC7473 and D flip-flop is IC7474. As you can see here on the slide, that our focus in this particular video lecture session will be on the sequential circuit part. That means the flip-flops and how to design different sequential circuit using flip-flops. So as you can see, the pink color is mostly the JK flip-flop side. From the JK flip-flop side, we have mostly counters. In my prior videos, I have told you why JK flip-flop is more suitable for designing counters, because in most of the counter design implementations, we require toggle. So toggle is easily doable with JK flip-flop when J and K both should be 1. So when J and K both are 1, then the JK flip-flop will work in a toggle mode. So toggling is a operation which is required for counting. That's why mostly in a synchronous counter, we see that toggle operation. So the counter, we are going to discuss about how to design a asynchronous counter, and similarly how to design a synchronous counter. So this counter design, synchronous as well as asynchronous, is implemented using IC7473, that is a JK flip-flop. Now, one important point to be noted here, the IC7473 is having a negative edge trigger clock. So whenever we are going for a synchronous counter, then we have to pay attention that this is a negative edge trigger clock. So accordingly, we have to do the connections, because as you know the theoretical concept, when the clock is positive edge trigger, then the circuit will be different as compared to the negative edge trigger clock. So this one important thing that you have to take it into account, that negative edge trigger clock is there. So this will work like a up counter if the Q output will be connected to the subsequent JK flip-flop. So when it is a positive edge trigger, the reverse will be there. That means the Q bar should be connected to the clock for up counting. In case of down counting, it will be just the reverse. That means for this case, that is negative edge trigger clock, the Q bar will be connected to the subsequent JK flip-flop clock, then it will work like a down counter. And similarly, if it is a positive edge trigger, then Q bar is connected to subsequent clock will be your up counter. So these are the theoretical concepts which we have seen in the laboratory, and the same thing we are going to do in this Tinkercad session. So in this particular video lecture, I will be demonstrating counters, shift register for our digital and linear integrated circuit lab, so that we can perform this experiment online to Tinkercad, and also the purpose of examination. And as you can see in the green color, I have highlighted D flip-flop. So this D flip-flop is IC 7474, and this D flip-flop is mostly we are going to use in shift register application, because as you know, I have already told you in the previous video lecture also that this D flip-flop is a delay flip-flop. That means whatever you are going to give in the input D, the same you will get as output Q after application of clock. So this D flip-flop is more convenient for designing shift registers. So this is a brief understanding of sequential circuit in the context of our lab, digital and linear integrated circuit lab. So let's move forward and see one by one. So in this particular presentation, I have structured it like first we are going to see a JK flip-flop and what are the pinout configuration and what is the truth table, so that we can see the JK flip-flop. And immediately after that, I have put counters, and I will demonstrate how a asynchronous counter can be implemented in Tinkercad. Similarly, how a synchronous counter will be implemented in the same circuit, same system. And also, after that, I will go to the D flip-flop pinout configuration, and I'll show you how a shift register will function using the circuit design using D flip-flop. So let's move forward. So these are the experiments that we have done in the physical lab session in digital linear integrated circuit lab. So the fourth experiment is mostly on flip-flops, that is different flip-flop and their truth table verification, and we have some flip-flop conversions. So for flip-flop conversion, we have circuits. So I think students already have the circuits that we have already implemented in the physical lab. So you can very well see those circuit and implement those circuit after for your in your own convenient time for practice purpose. And in this video lecture, I'll be focusing on how to design a counter, that is in experiment number 5 using JK flip-flop. It's a 2-bit synchronous counter, and 2-bit asynchronous counter is also there in the design problem. So 2-bit synchronous counter using JK flip-flop, 2-bit asynchronous counter. So all are part of experiment number 5. So that these two will be implemented using JK flip-flop. Then at the end, I will show you how shift register can be implemented using D flip-flop. So you'll have understanding how to do sequential circuit experiments on Tinkercad. So let's move forward. This is your JK flip-flop. As you can see on the presentation on the screen, that JK flip-flop, this is the IC 7473, and you can see there in that particular IC you have 2 JK flip-flops. That means you have J1 K1 and J2 K2. Those are the 2 set of flip-flop. A complete set is there. That means your J1 K1 and subsequent output will be Q1 and Q1 bar, and the second flip-flop will be J2 K2, and the subsequent output will be Q2 and Q2 bar. So everybody is familiar with the flip-flop, and Q is the output and Q bar is the complemented output of the same. So as you can see on the screen, this is a 14-pin IC. So this 14-pin IC is actually having all the required pins for functioning of 2 JK flip-flops. Because as you know, a JK flip-flop in a general sense will be having 2 inputs, J and K, and 1 clock and 2 outputs. 2 outputs means they are actually the same output, but one is Q and other one is the complemented output. So 2 output pin, Q and Q bar. So that makes 5 pins, and apart from that we have preset. That is your mostly for whenever you want asynchronous operation of flip-flop. That means when you do not want the clock to operate, rather forcefully want to reset the flip-flop. So for that reason, there is a clear pin, asynchronous pin, so which is the sixth pin. And apart from that, you require power supply. So you have VCC and ground. So in this particular 7473 IC, the VCC and ground are not 14 pin or 7 pin, rather it is in between. As you can see in the diagram, the ground is 11th pin and the VCC is 4th pin. So these are the power supply, and you can see here what are the different pins that you are having. So the first pin is the clock one of the first JK flip-flop. Second pin is the clear pin, which I was talking about for asynchronous operation. Then we have K1. K1 is the input to the first flip-flop. Then you have VCC. Then you have clock 2. Then you have clear 2. This is asynchronous input for the second JK flip-flop. And then you have J2. Then from this side, if you see Q2 is there, Q2 bar, complemented output, then Q2, then K2, then this is the ground, then this is your Q1, this is your Q1 bar, this is your J1. So these are the different pins of your IC747. So if you notice this function table is how the JK flip-flop will function. So as you can see, the first column is basically the asynchronous control pin, which is your clear pin. So when it is low, that means it is working in a asynchronous mode. That means it will not depend upon the clock. The operation of JK flip-flop will not depend upon the clock. So clock doesn't matter. That means it is don't care. J and K both are don't care, and the output will be forcefully 0 and 1. That is the computer. So when you want to reset your flip-flop through asynchronous input, then this clear should be low, because this is active low input, clear bar. So this is basically a clear bar input. So that means it is a asynchronous input which is low, then it will be active. So that means this is low and it is not going for any clock operation. In all other cases, the clear should be always high. That means if you want the flip-flop to work in a clocked mode, that means it will give output according to the clock, then these clear should be always high. Then whenever you are applying the clock based on the J and K condition, your output will be coming. So as you know, L means low, low means 0, and H means high, high means 1. So this is basically the positive logic. So we are going for 0, 0, then this output will be QZ. So then whenever you are going for your 1, 0, then the output is high. This is the set condition. Then this is 0, 1, then this will be low. Low means 0. And whenever you are getting both high, then it will be working in toggle. So this is no change condition, this is set condition, reset condition, and this is the toggle condition. So all these things you are familiar with the JK flip-flop operation, clocked operation, whenever the clear is high or the clear is disabled or the asynchronous input is disabled. So for clocked operation. So this is the functional diagram or functioning diagram of your JK flip-flop, and the pin configuration just now we have discussed. So let's design one circuit, that is your counter circuit, using this JK flip. So this is the synchronous counter. So 2-bit synchronous up counter. So it will do the up counting. So what is basically up counting? As you can see here, what is basically up counting? Up counting means it will count from 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then again it will go back to the 0 state. So all these synchronous designs or synchronous sequential circuit design, I think you have an understanding that it has how to design a synchronous sequential circuit. It has certain steps. So first step is your state transition diagram. Then second step is your state transition table. Then you have to write the change in state, that is state transition table. Then you have to write the excitation table of the considered flip-flop. Then after that, after the excitation table, then you have to solve the K-map. Then after solving the K-map, you'll get a reduced Boolean expression or minimized Boolean expression after solving the K-map, and that can be implemented into a circuit. So these are the steps involved in designing a synchronous sequential circuit. In this particular case, we are designing a synchronous up counter using JK flip-flop. So after going through all those steps, theoretically, as you have already studied everything in digital electronics theory part, so we will finally get a circuit that design. So whatever you are seeing on the slide or on the screen, that is basically after solving all those steps, final circuit diagram which we are getting for a 2-bit synchronous up counter using JK. So this circuit diagram, as you can see, is basically consisting of two JK flip-flops because it is a 2-bit counter. So if the counter will be higher in number, that means if it is n-bit counter, then n number of JK flip-flops will be required. That's the rule of the thumb. So if you have a 3-bit counter, then it will be having 3 JK flip-flops. If it is a 4-bit counter, it will be having 4 JK flip-flops. So on, so forth. So this is a 2-bit synchronous counter. So we are having 2 JK flip-flops in this particular case that you are seeing on the circuit diagram. So how the counting sequence will be? The counting sequence will be based on this state transition diagram. So what you are seeing on the state transition diagram is, let's say this is state 1, state 2, state 3, state 4. There are 4 distinct states in this state transition diagram. So state 1 will be 0, 0. That means this is binary 0, 0. That means this is 0. This will count 0. Then the second state is 0, 1. That means it will count 1. Then the third state is 1, 0. That means it is 2. Fourth state is 1, 1. That means it is 3. Then after that it will go back to 0. So what it is counting basically? It is a 2-bit synchronous count. So it will count only 2-bit. So 0, 0, then 0, 1, then 1, 0, then 1, 1, then finally it will go back to 0, 0. So it will go on like this. So as you can see, clock is written. So when the state transition will take place? Only when you are applying the clock, then only the state transition will take place. So this is the theoretical concept behind synchronous counter. And one more important thing, that in a synchronous sequential circuit like this, the clock should be common. That means all the clocks of the connected flip-flops should be same. That means that's why they are called synchronous. All the flip-flops has to change its state together. That means state of each and every flip-flop connected are all in sync, or they are all synchronous. So it depends upon time. This chronos word is related to time. So that means synchronous means it is all sync with the time. So in our flip-flop, in your sequential circuit, what is the parameter which will decide the time? Nothing but this clock. The clock is the entity which will decide the time. So this clock is common for both the. So I think you have a fair understanding of the concept of the synchronous counter. Now, for doing this experiment in Tinkercad, for your convenience, what I have done, I have written the pin number. So how did I write this pin number? All this pin number has been taken from this data sheet. That means this pin configuration object. So the same thing is written in red color. That means clock 1, J1, K1. This is your Q1. This is your Q1 bar. This is your J2, K2. This is your clock 2. This is your Q2. This is your Q2 and this is your Q2 bar. Apart from all the standard pins, there are certain other pins also there. What are those? Mostly the asynchronous control pins like clear bar. So clear bar should be always high for clocked operation. In the previous slide, I have explained what is the asynchronous input and why that clear input should be always high. So this high, that means 5 volts should be connected to clear. So there are 2 clear pins in each IC because for each flip-flop you have one clear pin. So 2 and 6 are the clear pin which has to be again connected to high. Then what else are remaining? Power supply, VCC and ground. VCC should be pin number 4 and ground should be pin number 11. So these are the all required connection to implement a 2-bit synchronous up down. So let's go back to our Tinkercad environment and start doing this experiment. Now student, one important thing is here is that something new that we are going to do on Tinkercad, that is clock. So the sequential circuit of flip-flop with clock, we have not seen any device called clock in our previous video lectures. So in this video lecture, we are going to deal with clock. So I will tell you how you are going to implement a clock and how you are going to see the output of the sequential circuit. So let's go to Tinkercad environment and see how to do this particular circuit. So I am going to Tinkercad, so I can Tinkercad. So this is the website. Well, we are here, so I can simply sign in. I'll go to circuits, create new circuit. Okay. Now, so you all know we have to go to component panel, we create, select all. And first thing first, we require a breadboard. Go for a regular breadboard, drag it. So my breadboard is in place. Then for our counter, what do you require? Do you require any switch? No, because we are not going to give any digital input. The counter will automatically do counting. So there is no requirement of any manual input or manual digital input. So for that reason, we do not need any switch. But what we require? We require power supply and we require clock. Now for clock, we have to use function generator. So that will generate waveform. So in this case, we have to generate a square wave for your clock. So that's why first thing I require a power supply and a function generator. So let me quickly navigate to it. Yes, here. I require a power supply for giving, and then I require function generator. So this is a function generator. And one more important thing, student, I will, I want to see how my clocks are going so that you can have a better understanding of operation. So for that case, I am taking an oscilloscope also. So this is used for seeing the clock. Okay. I will show you different configuration of this function generator and the oscilloscope later. Let me first build the circuit. So for JK flip-flop, I told you what is the IC 7473. So let me navigate to logic and 7473 IC. Okay, as you can see here, dual JK flip-flop 7473. So how many ICs do I require? Let me go back to the circuit. I require only two flip-flops for 2-bit synchronous counter. So that means two flip-flops are present in one IC. So I require only one IC. So I will take only one IC. I'm putting it here. Okay, fine. So this is my JK flip-flop. Then I will do the connection. This is power supply BCC. Color code it to red. This is my ground. Color code it to black. So power supply I have connected to the breadboard. Then I told you what is the power supply. The BCC should be pin number 4, ground should be 11. So BCC should be pin number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my BCC. I connected to black. Color coded to red. And my ground is pin number 11. So 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is my ground. So ground I will connect. This whole horizontal line is ground. Black. So power supply I have given to this particular IC. Then I require clock. So how many clocks are there in this particular case? Two clocks are there and both the clocks should be connected together. So I will take one function from the function generator only I can generate clock. So this, what is the clock pin number? Let's see. One is your 1, second clock is your 5. So 1 and 5 pin, these two pins should be connected to clock. That means function generator should be connected to pin number 1 and pin number 5. It is a synchronous circuit, so both the clock should be common, same. So 1 and 5 should be connected to function generator for clock. So this I am taking to pin number 1 and I will color code it to orange. Orange means clock. Then same 1 should be connected to pin number 5. So this is my pin number 5. Color coded to orange. That means my clock connection is done. So now, as you can see, J1, K1, that is first flip-flop, that is pin number 3 and pin number 14, should be connected to BCC plus 5 volt. So 3 and 14 should be plus 5 volt. So pin number 3, pin number 3 is also plus 5 volt. And pin number 14 would be also plus 5. Now this Q bar, you make a note here. This Q bar is open. That means you do not require to take any output from Q bar for both the cases. That means Q1 bar and Q2 bar. In both the cases, I don't want these connections. So they will be just left open. That means you do not need them. So I will focus on this 7 and 10. 7 and 10 should be connected to Q. That means the Q1 should be connected to the next. So this Q is basically pin number 12. So pin number 12 to 7 and 10 both. So pin number 12 to 7 I will connect. So this is my pin number 12 to 7. This is an internal connection. I will make it pink. Then next is 12 to 7, then 7 to 10. Now this 7 will be connected to 10. So this also I will make it pink. So this connection is done. Now I have output. So Q0 will be coming from 12 pin. Q1 will be coming from 9 pin. Now apart from this I have to connect this here. So pin number 2 and 6 both should be again high. That means plus 5. So 2 and 6, pin number 2, this line, and pin number 6, this line. So these two are also, these are for what? Clear, right? So clear has to be high for clocked operation. So we have done this connection, we have done this connection, and all other connections are done. Now only we have to check the output from 12 pin and 9. So to take the output, I have to connect the LED, and we are already familiar with how to place that output circuit with LED and resistor. So let's create one LED circuit. Go to LED. Yeah. So I'll take two LEDs. One is my red LED. So let's make it green, and another LED I'll take. Just let it be red. Then I require resistor, and this has to be connected to anode. Remember, I told in the previous video lectures. So now the cathode has to be connected to the ground. Fine. So my output circuit is ready. So what connection I want? Q0 is 12. So I will consider this as Q0. Q0 is 12. So this is my I'll color code it to something different. Blue. So as you can see, pin number 12 is connected to my Q0. Then pin number 9. So this is 8, 9. So pin number 9 should be connected to. So my connection is done. Now what I have to do, very important thing, I have to configure these devices. So first thing that I have to configure here is the function generator. First thing, we click on function generator. Now it will show you all the parameters. Frequency. Now for visibility, I'll make it 1 Hz so that your eye can detect every 1 second you will get a complete cycle. So every second you will get a change in state. Amplitude 5 volt, digital offset 250, 2.5 volt, and function is square. So it will generate a square wave. So 250 means what? It is basically uh, it will clamp the output. So for 250 volts, so that you can see everything beyond zero. So generally, what happens that square wave is basically plus 250 to minus 250. So I don't want that. I want from 0 to 5. So for that reason, this DC offset is. So every other configuration is same. Only frequency I have changed for visibility. So 1 cycle per second. So hertz, 1 hertz is enough. Fine. So function generator we are done with. Now I will go for oscilloscope. in oscilloscope, I have to check division. So these are all divisions, right? As you can see here. So this division I'll make second, and this will be 1 second. And we can later on we can tune it according to the output that we are getting on the CRO. Done. So we are done with the connection. Let's simulate it. Go to the control panel and start simulation. Okay. One thing we have left here, that's why the operation is not happening. That is the ground connection of the function generator we have not done. And the CRO also is not connected, so you are not able to see anything on the CRO. So let's connect this to the ground. So this is connected to the ground. Color code is black. And CRO, this will show the clock. So I will connect it to the clock. This is my clock. And it will be orange. And this negative should be connected to ground. Color coded to black. Now you will be able to see the changes because the function generator was not grounded. So you are not getting a reference voltage. So after doing the necessary changes, let's start the simulation. I think you are able to see. If you notice these two LEDs, and remember what is this green LED? This green LED is my Q1 and this red LED is my Q2. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Fine. So for better understanding, I will put some annotation so that it will be comfortable. So this is my Q1 and another annotation. This is my Q. Now you can see, and you can see the clock in this particular. So I can change it to zero point 0.5 for better visibility. So I have changed 0.5 seconds so that you can see little broader clocks. Okay, the simulation has been started. 1. So initially you can get some lag because of internet connectivity because this is running on the engine. So you can see this is the clock. This is the clock which is going clockwise. And you can see after some lag you will get all operation correct. In the beginning of the simulation, because of internet delay, you might get some lag. So just notice that. So after some time, when it is running fine, then you can see it is changing the state every second. 0, 1, 2, both LED, 3. Then again it will go to 0. So this is the operation of synchronous 2-bit counter using JK flip-flop. So this is a up counter. So it is counting up. That means first state is 0, next state is 1, next state is 2, next state is 3, and again it is coming back to 0. So in binary term, 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. So we have successfully simulated, designed and simulated a 2-bit synchronous up counter using JK. So let's stop this simulation here and move forward to the second step. Fine. So what is the second circuit? Let's go back to our slide. So this is the synchronous counter just now we have designed. The second circuit that we are having is a asynchronous counter. So what is a asynchronous counter? The JK flip-flops has to be in toggle mode. That means J and K both should be high. For both the flip-flop cases, J and K should be high. And as it says, it's a asynchronous, means clock of both the flip-flops should be different. That means output of the first flip-flop should drive the clock of the next flip-flop. So in that case, we are going to take output from the first flip-flop and give it to the clock of the next flip-flop. So what we are going to use, IC 7473, same IC, because it is having 2 JK flip-flop. So it is a 2-bit asynchronous counter. So 2 flip-flop I require. And as I have already told you, it's a negative edge trigger clock. So when Q is connected to the clock, it will be a up counter. So we are connecting Q to the clock. And as you can see, this is a timing diagram. So this is negative edge means the state will change from high to low. So from this trigger pulse, you are getting when it is high to low, then the state is changing. So initially it is 0, then at this instant it is changing. Then again at this instant it's changing. Again at this instant it's changing. So what it is changing? It is basically doing toggle operation, right? So here also it is changing. Here also at this point it will change. So in this case, in the Q1 case, now this Q0 is considered as the clock for the second flip-flop. So this green color line is the clock for the next flip-flop. So when the state of the next flip-flop will change from high to low, so at this point the state is changed, and again at this state, at this point clock state is. So as you can see, we are only interested for 4 clocks. Why? Because this is a 2-bit counter. So we require only 4. Then after that it will go back to 0. So as you can read it, Q1, Q0. So you have to read from MSB side. So first state is 0, 0. Next state will be 0, 1. Next state will be 1, 0. Next state will be 1. So this is the asynchronous counter. So what we are going to do here, already I have written the pin numbers. So pin numbers are already written. Let's quickly go to the Tinkercad and connect the circuit and see asynchronous counter operation. So let me go to Tinkercad and I will go to this. I already told you in previous video lectures that to go back to the main menu, you have to click on this Tinkercad logo. So this Tinkercad logo on left hand side corner, you click on that. So this will show my all previous designs here, but I have to create a new circuit. So create new circuit. Okay. So components all, Then I have to select a breadboard. So a regular breadboard. Okay. So breadboard is here. As it is a synchronous circuit, you know what all things are required. A power supply and a function generator. A power supply is required for VCC and ground, and a function generator is required for clock. And definitely I will go for a CRO or oscilloscope to show you the output of the clock. We'll configure these things later. First, let us place it. Then this is your VCC, this is your ground. So I require IC7473 for JK flip flop. So this is IC7473. I'm placing it here. I require only one IC because I require only two flip flops. Okay. Next, I have to do the connections, and here you have to pay attention that clock is not synced. Only the first clock is driven by the function generator, then second clock will be coming from the. So the first clock is clock number, pin number 1. So from the function generator, I will connect to pin number 1 and I'll make it orange. So this is the clock. And this function generator should be grounded. Black. Now this oscilloscope also should be connected to the clock to see the clock, orange, and this black should be also grounded, black. So all the devices we have connected, then I require power supply. So what is the power supply? We require pin number 4 VCC, pin number 11 ground. So pin number 4, this is the pin number 4 that should be connected to VCC. And pin number 11 is ground. So this should be grounded. Yeah. I have connected. Then asynchronous input I have to connect. So clear 2 and 6 should be high. Pin number 2 should be high. And pin number 6. Pin number 6 should also be high. So asynchronous input we have done. Next, 14 and 3. 3 and 14 should be high. So this is 3. It's 3. And 14. This is 14. Now why we are making 3 and 14 high? Because to make the JK work in toggle mode. J1, K1, toggle. Next is 7 pin and 10 pin. That also has to be toggle. Second JK flip flop has to be toggle. So 7 pin and 10 pin should be also high. 7 and 10 high. So pin number 7 and pin number 10. Okay. So pin number 7, 10 are connected. Then I require 12 to be connected to 5. So this is my 12, should be connected to 5. So this is my fifth pin group. So this is, let me make it another color. So let's say purple color. So what is the purple color? That is the connection from Q1 to the clock. Okay. So all my connections are done. Then I will take output from 9 for one LED. Another output for LED will come from 12. So let me take two LEDs. So I will take one red LED and one green LED. Okay. So now you know already register is required for the anode side. Fine. Now these two LEDs also has to be grounded. Cathode should be grounded. Here also this cathode should be grounded. Okay. Now I'll take annotation tool. Let me take this MSB for your visual understanding. So let me take this as Q1 and let me take another annotation here. Let me take this as Q0. So this is my LSB, this is my MSB. So let me go. Which one is LSB? This is my LSB. So that is 12 pin. So this is my pin number 12. So I'm taking from here. LSB. Next, for MSB, I require here, that is pin number 9. So pin number 9 should be fine. So we have done all connection for asynchronous counter. Then we have to configure this function generator. So I'm clicking here. Here it will be 1 hertz. Fine. And it is already square, everything is fine. Here, CRO, I'll make second and this should be 0.5 second. All our other connections we have done. Now let's simulate. So I'll go here, take this, start the simulation. One, I told you in the beginning of the simulation it will lag because it is working on internet. So initially you will get some lag. Then as soon as if you are having a good internet connectivity, then the lag time will be less. But once it is keep on running, then it will be all smooth. So initially you just wait for some time, then it will run smooth. This is the simulation time. You can see the clock here on the CRO. But still it is lagging a bit. It is not smooth because I think you are understanding. This is working on a cloud platform. All the engine is running on cloud. So depending upon network connectivity, you will get the simulation. So there's some lag because of network. After some time, you'll see it will run fine. As you can see, this time is not real time. We have done the simulation from so long, maybe around 1 minute, but it is showing only 6 seconds of simulation. So from this, you are getting idea that it is not showing the real time, rather it is lagging. Okay, now you see, I understand. Zero, zero, both are off. One, two, three. Both the LEDs are glowing. Three. Then both are off. Means zero. So zero, one, two, three. Again zero. Zero, one, two, three. Again zero. So this is the operation of asynchronous bit up count. Now, as the time goes on, you are seeing the simulation a little faster than before. You just check here. Sometimes the clock goes fast, sometimes it gets slow. It's purely because of the network. Three, zero, one, two, three, zero. Okay. We can do one thing as it is lagging, we can just change the frequency. Let's see here instead of 1 hertz, I'm going for 0.25 hertz. I want to speed it up, so let's say 5 hertz. One, one, two, three. Now it is getting way faster. So it is just blinking, you are unable to see. Still, it is so fast that your eye hardly recognizes. One, two, three, zero. One, two, three, zero. One, two, three, zero. One, two, three, zero. As you can see here. 1 hertz. Let's see. See, 1, 2, 3, 0. Fine. So we have seen the asynchronous counter operation. So let's go to the last circuit of sequential circuit, that is your shift register. So how we are going to implement a shift register using D flip-flop, as I have already discussed. So let me stop the slide, stop the simulation, and let's go to the slide. So the last circuit for us is shift register. Now how that shift register is been designed? That shift register is been designed using this D flip-flop. The IC number is 7474. As you can see, in this IC 7474, you have two D flip-flops, and there are some connections like clear, 1D. So 2D flip-flops are there, so you will have 2D input, 1D and 2D. So these are actually inputs to D flip-flop. Then you have preset and clear. Now preset and clear both are asynchronous inputs. Then you have clock, and then you have output Q and complemented output as Q bar. So this is the function table for D flip-flop. In the function table, as you can see, that when it is preset and clear, preset is low and clear is high. That means it will work in preset mode. So preset means Q will become high. It doesn't matter what is D. Then when preset is high and clear is low, that means it will be output will be low. It doesn't matter what is D, and also doesn't matter what is clock, because these are all asynchronous operations. Then when preset and clear both are low, this is not actually not a desired condition. That means it will forcefully go into high mode, and this is not a stable mode. So when preset and clear both are high, that means it will go into clock operation. Clock operation means a regular D flip-flop operation. So it will go into when the D is high, output will be high. In the clock mode, when D is low, output will be low. So this is, and when the clock is low pulse, then it will be D doesn't matter, output will be always used. So this is the function table or truth table operation for D flip-flop. So let's go to a serial input, serial output shift register and connect using D flip-flop using this pin configuration and check whether it is doing the shifting operation or not on the Tinkercad. So this is the shift register. You are already done this experiment in the lab and you are familiar with this particular circuit. So what we are doing, this is left to right shift, 4-bit serial in, serial out. That means SISO shift register. And all the D should be connected to Q, Q should be connected to next D, then the Q will be connected to next D. So like this, it will be carrying forward. And this is a synchronous sequential circuit. That means all the clocks should be connected to the same. So clock should be same. They are in sync. So they are synchronous sequential circuit. So remember, shift register is also a synchronous sequential circuit. So we are giving a common clock to all this. So how many D flip-flops are there here? 4 D flip-flop, and you know that in a particular 7474 IC, you have 2 flip-flops. So you require 2 IC. That's why I have written here IC number 1 and IC number 2. So you are having requiring 2 IC. So we have all the, and you see this is the operation of shift register. That means this is the input, serial input is given to D0. That means the first D input. Whatever input you are giving, the same thing will be shifted. So Q0, Q1, this is Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3. So it is shifting. And then finally, the output will be always taken out from the Q3. So this is coming out here. So shifting, 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 coming out. And again. So finally, you are getting here. The complete input is 1, 0, 1, 0. So you are getting it here, 1, 0, 1. So serial input, serial output. So for this, how many clocks are required for SISO? 2n minus 1 number of clocks. So here n is equal to 4 because it's a 4-bit shift register. So n is equal to 4 means number of clock required for a CISO is 2n minus 1. That means it will be requiring 7 clocks in our case because we are having a 4-bit shift register. So already I have written in red color what are the pin connections. So let's do the pin connection according to this pin numbers and see whether shift register operation is happening for CISO or not. So let's begin. So I'm going to the Tinkercad, and as you know, we have to go to the main menu. Here you are seeing all the existing circuits that we have designed. So I will go to a new circuit. Fine. Components all. Go for a breadboard, a regular breadboard. So what I require here, I need to see the shift register operation for 4. So I require first all the power supply. Here I require power supply. I require function generator for clock. Just to see the clock, I require oscilloscope. Fine. Then what is the D flip flop IC? 7474. So let's go and see 7474. And how many IC I require? 2, because 4 flip flops are required, so 2 IC. So this is 7474 dual D flip flop. I connected one, another I will connect. Okay. So two 7474 ICs I have taken. Let me take do the power supply here. Plus 5 here. Black. Right. So power supply I have. So what is the power supply requirement for this particular IC? As you can see, VCC is 14 and ground is 7 as usual. So 14 is VCC. Yes, I will change the color. 14 is VCC, then 7 is ground. Here also 14 is VCC, 7 is ground. So power supply we have connected. Then power supply is done. Then preset and clear both should be high. So for that reason, I have total 2 preset and 2 clear. So total 4 pins, all should be high. So 1, 4, 10, 13. All should be connected to 5. 1, 4, 1, 4, 10, 13. So 1, then 4, then 10, then 13. Okay. Same thing I have to do for this case also. 1, 4, then 10, then 13. The 13 line. So we have done the preset and clear connection and ground and VCC connection. Then clocks are required. So how many clocks are there? 4 clocks. 313 for 311 for the first IC, then second IC again 311. So 4 clocks are there. I will create a clock line for better convenience. So I will take this and connect it to the last line, and this last line will be considered as my clock line. So this will be orange color. So anything which is connected to this horizontal line will be clock, because I require 4 lines. So one black will be connected to ground. So this is my black reference, and this also should show my clock. This CRO should show my clock. So I will connect this CRO to my clock line on this side. The whole line is same, so I'm connecting orange, and this black should be ground. So now this clock line should be connected to all the required clock lines. So what are the clocks? 3 and 11 for both the IC, 3 and 11. So 3. So this is my 3. So 3 should be connected to clock line, and next one is my 11. So 11 is this line. So this also I'll connect to clock line. The same thing I have to do for this IC. So 3 should be clock line and should be orange, and 11 this line. It should be also. So we have done all clock connections. Now just interconnection is required. 5 to 12, then 9 to the sixth next IC is 2 pin, second pin, then fifth pin to the 12th pin. So 5 to 12, then 9 to next IC is 2, then 5 to 12. So let me connect. So this is my fifth pin. To 12 pin I have to connect. So this is my 12 pin, this line. I'll color code it to blue. So 5 to 12 I connected. Then 9 to 2. So this is my 9. So this has to be connected to second. Second IC is 2, right? So this is again blue color. So I have done this 9 to 2. Then again 5 to 12. So this is my fifth, 5 to 12. And then so 5 to 12 I have done 5 to 12. Then I have to take output from 9. And where will I see the output? I see output from this 5959. Okay. So these lines. So this is my Q0, Q1, Q2. So for that, seeing that output, I require LED array. So let me create one LED array. So how many LEDs are required? 4 LEDs are required. So let me go to 4 LED, create 4 LEDs. One. Let me change the color to blue. Another second. Another chart. Let me make it as yellow. Another. Let me make it as green. So 4 different color Q1, Q2, Q3, Q. Now as you know, we have to connect register for the anode part. Okay. And then we have to take the cathode to ground. These are all ground. They are all connected. Cathode connected to ground. Okay. So how we are going to connect to these outputs? 5, 9, 5, 9. So first thing is 5. So I have to, here is 5. So 5, one connection. Let it be green output. Then next will be 9. Let it be green. Then again 5. So this is my 5. Again I have to go for 9. So this is my. So I have done all connections. Now, one important thing I have to see that the input has to be given manually, serially on this pin number 2. So I have to give a push button for manual input. So let me take a push button. So this is a push button. And I'll place this here. Now what is the job of this push button? I'll take one input from 5 volt, right? And this I will connect to D0. So what is my D0 according to diagram? Pin number 2. So pin number 2, I will connect from here to pin number 2. Okay. I will color code it to something like purple. So this purple line is actually my D0 manual input, serial input. So if I press this button, one pulse will go. And then the same pulse will be shifted along this LEDs. Okay. So all our connections is done. So let's simulate this particular circuit. Start simulation. Let me check what is the parameter that I have taken here. Let me take it a second, and this should be zero point 0.5 seconds. Start the simulation. So I have not given any pulse yet. So if I'll give a pulse, you see the first blue LED will take the first pulse after application of clock, and the same pulse will just shift from left to right. Okay. Now you can see the frequency is 1 kilohertz. That's why you are not able to see how fast it is moving. So let me take this frequency as 1 hertz and then zoom. Okay. Now you can see I'm pressing this. Okay, one pulse is going. Second, it has been shifted from here to here. Then it has gone to yellow, then green. Let me make stop too much. Start simulation. Blue, then red, then yellow, then green. So this is shifting operation. So you are giving a manual pulse here, and you are getting the shifting operation. So fine. So we are able to do the shifting operation using shift register using D flip-flop, 4-bit serial input and serial output shift register. So this concludes our sequential circuit implementation in Tinkercad for our digital and linear integrated circuit. I hope everybody is clear about designing circuit and seeing the output in Tinkercad. So let's stop this simulation here and the shifting operation that we have seen in Tinkercad. So that's all. We are going to finish this. I hope you have understood and will be able to implement the circuits in your own system using Tinkercad platform. So fine, all the best. I'm signing off. Thank you.